Yes, it is the Puddle Hockey Eagles postgame show. I am Mike Missinelli with Derek Gunn and Seth Joyner, and the Eagles lose it today, 20-10. That means they need a win next week, which leads us into our Mark's Jewelers Diamond debate. And normally Devin Caney is on the set showing us something fancy, diamond-oriented that the Mark's people sent to us. Well, they missed the delivery to my house this week, I think. I'm going to show you. This is the watch I did not get from Mark's Jewelers. This is I've been telling people it's gold, but it's brass, and it's got mother of pearl. So this is not the Mark's Jewelry watch. But if you missed the opportunity, I know a lot of people did. If you missed the opportunity to purchase that engagement ring at Christmas, she's waiting for it come Valentine's Day. So start your Valentine's Day diamond shopping right now. Mark's Jewelers, an incredible place. The size of the store will blow you away. Seth, you loved it. Devin loves it. D Gunn and I are the only people that really haven't gotten any kind of bling to wear on the show.
You sound like you're a little hurt, man.
Well, of course I'm hurt.
I'm gonna hook you up next week. Okay. We'll be back down at Parks next week. I'm gonna make sure that you get a watch. I'm gonna make sure you get a watch or a
we'll be at Ocean next week.
What about me? I got you, but he over there crying. I'm gonna make sure he get like a tennis bracelet or something to wear and show next week.
That'd be nice. That's a nice thought, a tennis bracelet. All right, let's do our diamond debate here, brought to us by Mark's Jewelers. So we touched on it a little bit in the last segment. And it's really interesting about whether he's hurt or not. So let's just say, and Derek, I think your instincts are right. He's more hurt than they would let on. I think this was a ruse this week that he was going to play to just try to throw off New Orleans in their preparation. So now it becomes a situation, Seth, where and I know you put the difference between injury and hurt. So let's just say that he is not 100%. You have now backed yourself into a corner where you cannot afford to lose that game. And it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be against a team that wants to beat you. So do you not have to say, hey, Jalen, you're not 100%. I know we're putting you at risk probably. We need you to play. Do they have any choice but to throw him back out there in that game?
You got to play him. I mean, you can't. You think that Gardner Minshew is going to come out next week and give you a solid performance after just having his confidence snatched from his soul today?
No, he's scared me to death if he has.
Okay, so he's got nothing left. The only alternative that you have is to get Jalen Hurts back on the field. Now listen, I get it. We live in a different NFL than the one that I grew up in, the one that I lived in. Okay, but at some point in time, there's an old saying. Anyone who's been through training camp, okay, they're hurting until the last game, whether that be the regular season, the playoffs, or the Super Bowl. Something on you is hurting all the time. That's just the nature of the game, okay? The question is, can you deal with the pain or the hurt enough that allows you to do the things that you normally do? That's what defines something hurting you. If you can still perform, at 75, to 80% of your production with your hurt, then it's just a hurt. Okay. If you
here's where the debate comes in. And
I'll
go back to Derek Gunn's point.
Hold on, let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
If you can't, now that's an injury. Okay. An injury is something that doesn't allow you to do the things that you're normally able to do, like running or jumping or catching a ball or being able to throw a ball, okay? My issue with this whole let's roll Jalen Hurts out there and show him going through some drills and, doing some soft tosses, why even do it? Why even put him in a situation where, and maybe – are you just like, are you like grandstanding?
Yeah,
to get the Saints to a point.
They were playing games with the Saints.
Come on, man. I mean,
playing games with the Saints.
Teams do that all the time, though.
Yeah, they do.
My point is, if he's that hurt, then he ain't got no damn business out there throwing the ball in the first place. Okay, just the fact that I see him throwing the ball, okay, tells me that he probably can play. Now, he might not be able to throw it 50, 60 yards like everybody, like we're used to seeing him do, okay? You don't really need him to do that. Not against this team.
But here's the thing.
For him to do
Derek,
was to
explain,
create the illusion of him running with the football to create opportunities for you offensively, because you don't have that with Gardner Minshew. And that's exactly why I said he should have played. Now, what's the difference between this week and next week? Because I tell you, there's no way in hell that the Eagles are rolling into week 18 and rolling Gardner Minshew back out there. Jalen Hurts is playing next week. So what the hell was the difference between playing him this week and playing him next week?
I don't know.
And hold on. And D-Gun for you, okay? If he goes out and somebody falls on that shoulder next week, what's the difference between somebody falling on that shoulder this week or next week?
The difference between this week and next week, as I've seen time and time again, medical staff, if we give them 7 additional days, that will heal this thing that much more. Now, again, I go back to a statement I said before we went to a commercial break. Everybody on the planet that follows this Eagles team understood the magnitude and the significance of this game. You win this game, you clinch first place, and then you get to sit your regulars next week in a meaningless game against the Giants. The fact that Jalen Hurts was not out there today tells me they are not comfortable where he is right now. And Seth, I've seen it too many times, time and time again over the last 10 years. We see video of a quarterback, hey, and it makes national news. So-and-so's out there practicing with taking first team reps today. Game time comes around, so-and-so is inactive today. It happens all the time.
It does happen. And so here to this point, I believe you're right, Derek. I think the Eagles thought they could get by this game and not play him at all until the first game of the playoffs to give him that kind of rehabilitation. So now the landscape has changed. I still don't believe he's ready to play 100%. And you're right about re-injuring. And if he gets re-injured on a run or whatever, and he gets the shoulder jarred, then they're screwed for the playoffs. Yeah. So here's the balancing act.
He ain't going to be ready to play. He's not going to be 100%, Mike, until
he's going to be more 100% play until the playoff game time.
Yeah.
Do you play him in this must-win situation? I'm agreeing with you, Seth. I think you have to play him.
You have to play him.
But it's a precarious situation now.
And even if the Giants are locked into the number 6 seed, no matter what. So I'm thinking right now they're going to pull their regulars. But here's the thing. Wink Martindale is going to have his boys play their scheme, which means they're going to be blitzing all over the field again. Okay? And so somewhere along the line, he could take that unexpected shot.
No, listen. Let me tell you what they need to do, D-Gun. Okay, yeah. They need to line up in 12. Jack Stahl needs to line up right next to Jack Driscoll all game long, and don't leave. You understand what I'm saying? And you're gonna run 4-man routes all day long. Okay.
So here's what it should do.
You're gonna go 6-man protection.
Right.
7 if you have to with the bat.
They're not going to do that, Seth.
Huh?
They're not going to do that. They're not going to do Seth, you know this Eagles team is not going to do that. Their coaches, I agree with you, but just like what you said on the pregame show, I'm hoping the Eagles DBs come up and play press coverage. What did I say? They're not going to do that. And they didn't do it. They let the Saints tight ends and receivers run wide open in the middle of the field. They're not going to do that. It's basic football. You're right, Seth. They're not going to play that scheme. Here's what I think they should do. Put Mulata's butt on the right side and bring that first-round pick you've been sitting on the bench forever to the left side. Now, 2/5 of your starting offensive line now is you're basically messing with 2/5 of your starting offensive line. But you got a $50 million left tackle that should be able to move over to the right side. And you have a high-profile first-round pick who hasn't played much of this season, who should be able to plop his butt on the left side because mentally – he can't play the right side. What does the coaching staff tell us? Oh, Dillard's more comfortable on the left side. Every other offensive lineman except Jason Kelsey is an interchangeable part. You can move, and Lane Johnson. You can move them anywhere else, but Dillard can only play the left side. Well, you know what? After what I saw from Jack Driscoll last week and today, Mulata, get your behind over here. Dillard, get your feelings in check. Get off the bench. You're playing the left side today. Plain and simple.
Listen, man, I'm telling you right now, that is too much. That's too much to upset, in my opinion. Just put the tight end over there. Just put him over there.
I agree, Seth. They're
Listen,
not going to do it.
He's saying that you're not going to do it the Seth way. And he's right. They're not going to do it the Seth way. So I do believe there's going to be a change. And Dillard's going to be in the lineup somewhere.
Listen, man. The fact that he hasn't been in the lineup except for at right guard, when Seumalo got hurt, speaks volumes, okay? They can't even get anybody to give him a cheesesteak, a Philly pretzel, and some tasty cakes for him, okay? If he could play some way, somehow, they find a way to get him on the field. Even if you want to go your big package and bring in an extra extra lineman to, for big packages, who are you going to bring in? When Lane is healthy, they bring in Jack Driscoll. They don't bring in Andre Dillard. Those kinds of things speaks volumes to me, man. They just do.
Yeah, but they've done it before. They put Dillard in that situation. We asked it last week, John McMullen, who's coming up in the next segment, and John McMullen thought that they would play Driscoll. Well, they did, and he didn't pass the test. So now you might have to alter that plan. So, Derek, back on your point, the Giants are locked into the 6th seed.
Right.
And they are going to play some of their backups, and they don't need the game.
No.
Does that influence the Eagles on playing Minshew another week?
No. You don't want to take that risk, especially against that. Okay. What did the Saints do? They abuse the Eagles' offensive line. I mean, they abuse that right side. Driscoll cannot handle Cameron Jordan. We talk about the Eagles getting 7 quarterback sacks. Oh, by the way, the Saints had 6. Okay. And what does Wink Martindale like to do with the Giants? He wants to blitz all day and put pressure on Minshew, make him make a decision. You saw what happened with that pick 6. He couldn't wait to get the ball out of his hand. He telegraphed that pass to A.J. Brown. Lattimore steps in front of him, walks to the house. Good night, game over. You've got to play your best of the best. Now, hopefully, with the Giants sitting out their regulars, you put Jalen in there, you run up a lead like you did the first time against the Giants and get him out of there to get him the necessary rest. But you cannot just let this kid sit for 5 weeks and get ready for a playoff game. He has to get some kind of game reps. Get him in there, do the damage you need to do, get him out of there before anything else happens. Because like I said before, you look at the fluke injury that a Josh Sweat had today, and luckily I just saw a little while ago, he was released from the hospital, so that's a good thing. Now, obviously, we don't know his status for the upcoming game when you have a neck injury like that, but by the same token, your franchise quarterback needs to get a few reps before he hits the ground running in the playoffs. And do you want to go in the playoffs as the number 1 seed or as the number 5 seed? Because if you go as the number 5 seed, guess what? You're heading down to Tampa Bay to play that dude named Brady, okay? Or do you want to sit at home and get an extra week to get a whole lot of people rest up? Lane Johnson, Avonte Maddox, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and now Josh Sweat. I'd much rather have that extra week getting my guys ready.
I'd rather have it too. That's why I would have played Jalen Hurts today.
But why didn't he, Seth? It tells me something else is going on.
I think that they're being overly cautious with him because they they have the flexibility. I felt that way all along. I just, D-Gun, I'm just a firm believer. I know what it feels like, to have injuries. I've had shoulder surgery. It's one of my 6 surgeries that I've had.
Right.
Okay. So I get it. But what I'm saying is, if that shoulder injury was as severe and as massive as they've tried to make it out to be, then there's no way he even finishes that game. You understand what I'm saying? He doesn't finish that game, where he gets hurt. He plays the whole third quarter, and the third quarter was better than any other quarter that he played the entire game. So I've always felt like, hey, he's going to wake up tomorrow. He's going to be really sore. He may be really sore, for a while, okay? But I just don't feel like it's as serious as they made it out to be. And I think that they're being overly precautious with Jalen Hurts. Because, listen, the running game is good enough that you don't need him to throw the ball 50 yards down the field.
Wait, okay? What running game? They don't run the ball. What running game?
And when he's in there, the running game looks markedly different.
You're right. But Seth, okay? what if he had done worse damage by finishing that game in Chicago?
Yeah, but you can't listen. if 53 guys can step on the field every single Sunday with that what if mentality.
I get it.
When you think, and I've always said this, you know, the Eagles are a protectionary organization by the way that they practice and by the way that they talk about, you know, injuries. And I get it. They've been bitten by the injury bugs probably more than any other team in the NFL over the last 5 years. But you know what really happens, in my opinion, is, you know, I never walked out on the field with a thought that I might get hurt. You know, you just go and you play. Now, if you get hurt, you get hurt. That's a part of the game. That's how it works. But I think when the onus and the focus is on trying to stay healthy or getting hurt, and it starts at the top and it filtrates itself all the way down to the 53rd guy on the roster, now you're creating this energy around the organization that attracts injury to you. Go out and play the game. If you go out and you play and you're playing 100 miles an hour, you're less likely to get hurt than when you're always trying to put them in bubble wrap and trying to protect them. The game ain't meant to be played that way. Well, if you're supposed to get hurt, you're gonna get hurt. That's just the way it is.
I can't get off of this. The fact that they knew the magnitude of this game, and yet they kept him out of this game. I just can't let go of that, because that doesn't make sense. You don't do that. You know the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying?
But Derek, don't you think they thought that Minshew could beat the Saints, and they thought they were in the safety zone
after what he did last week?
So they wanted it. They wanted it both ways. Basically, they wanted to protect Jalen, and they thought they could win with Gardner Minshew, and they found out differently. So now they're like, you have to play him now, and it doesn't matter if he's hurt. You've got to play him and get this win. And if the Giants look like they're kind of just going through the motions, and maybe you have some leeway to get him out of there or whatever it is. But I didn't expect that they were going to be in this kind of a situation. I really didn't, and I don't think they did either.
No, I didn't either. That's why I said they spun the roulette wheel, and it came up against them. You know, if I was a coaching staff, I would have approached it the same way. After what you did in Dallas on Christmas Eve in front of a national audience, and you went tooth and nail with that defense, and you gave us a chance to win. You put up 355 yards passing on that defense and 2 touchdown passes. You know, I'm looking at this Saints team that can barely score 20 points a game. We have more than enough firepower. We have more than enough defense to control the Saints. I agree. That would have been my strategy as well. It backfired on them. They rolled the dice, and it came up snake eyes on them.
Yeah, and now they're up against it. So we'll talk to John McMullen next. And he covered the game, and he listened to all the post-game press conferences. And I'm dying to hear if anybody press Sirianni on this offensive game plan, which was woeful, inadequate, and forced the Eagles to now go into a desperation situation next week. This is the Poundland Hockey Eagles post-game show. John McMullen up next, and we'll be back after this.